All right, so it's Trent here with Triple Magazine. I'm talking with Tim Burroughs in Boise, Idaho today. Tim, thanks so much for taking the time. First question for you: when did you get your start in real estate?
Boy, we have to go a long way back because actually I was a lender for 9 years, an appraiser for 3.5 years, and 28 years ago I got my license to sell real estate in Idaho.
Wow.
So,
I love it.
I can look at it. It's kind of like that movie. I don't know if you ever saw it, but it showed different points of view at the beginning, and then they would
Oh yeah.
pull everybody back, and then they show another point of view, and then pull everybody back and another point of view. And so, I can give good advice to people. I'm not going to be their loan officer.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the one required to do an appraisal on the property for them to get a loan. But I'm
Yeah.
going to give them some insights. I know from being an appraiser what affects value.
Yeah.
And so as I'm showing property to a client, I'm going to be honest with them and say, there's some issues with this particular house that may affect its value, both now and in the long term. And so I'm always watching out for for the best interest of my clients.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So that background really helps.
I think that's honestly, that's the most robust background I've heard across doing these interviews, and I think it's fantastic. What sticks out to me is that you've been in Idaho for all of this time, and obviously you've been in this, in some capacity, you've been in real estate your whole career, or I imagine close to your whole career. What's kept you in it? Like, why? What do you enjoy about it, and what about doing it in Idaho is in particular so special to you?
Well, Idaho is such a great place to live, for one thing. I mean, a lot of people who've not experienced Idaho yet don't know everything it has going for us. You see on our license plate, famous potatoes, and you think that's all we do here.
Yeah.
But it's not the case. We have an awful lot of, we have like the third largest microchip manufacturer in the world that started here.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Micron Technology, and they're amazing. They employ about 11,000 people here. We have 2 regional hospital systems. And so anybody who would be moving here that would need medical care, we got the best of here, so it's awesome.
What are people asking you right now? Like, what are the things that are on people's minds, and what are you telling people? Like, obviously you see a bunch of headlines. Like, I see a ton of headlines on a daily basis about the real estate market. What are people asking you, and what are you telling them right now?
Well, there's a certain set of buyers that, are living right on the edge of what they can afford.
Yeah.
Right. And when they could afford it 3%, when it bumped up to 7%, they were just out of the market.
Yeah.
Nothing they could do about it. Right. There's another group of people who think that the market is going to drop $200,000 to $300,000 in value. Not going to happen. Maybe at the most 10% of where we were a year ago at the height.
Yeah.
But not much more than that. And so, it's like you hear the arborist when they're talking about when should we plant a tree. And they say the best first time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah.
And it's basically the same advice that I would give somebody on a house. If you can afford to own it, right, buy a house.
Right. Because
it's going to go up in value. The house that I live in right now, I built 6.5 years ago.
Wow.
It cost $409,000 for the builder to build it. Okay, that's great. At the top of the market last year, it was worth over $900,000.
Oh my God.
Was that a good decision? Absolutely.
My last question, just kind of keeping it relatively short here. What are there any trends you're seeing in the market at the moment, not related necessarily to economics, but things people are asking for, looking for in homes that they haven't previously? So I've heard no baths in a master bathroom, or vinyl floors are coming back, or open plan living is kind of going out of style. Anything like that you're hearing right now from people?
Well, the builders have decided that, okay, I can't build you a house anymore with, the luxury items in it. So you're not going to get the high-end appliances anymore. You're not going to get the granite or the quartz countertops. They're going back to laminate countertops. They're going back to maybe a luxury vinyl plank instead of hardwood floors. Yeah. And so so the end game is that, the builders are kind of directing where it goes. But I'm always reminded of a story years ago when the only thing builders were building was a single story with a bonus room up. They marveled at how well those things sold. And I said, but you're not giving any alternative floor plan. There are no single stories that you're building. There are no 2 stories you're building. And people are coming into town and the only thing they can buy is the single story with the bonus room up. Why wouldn't it sell?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and the builder goes, you do have a point there. But, it's just interesting. I think most people, when given opportunity, will try to build the nicest house that they can own.
Yeah.
For what they can afford.